the next segment is going to be with special guest Damian Kastbauer. If you didn't hear at the top of the hour, Damian is like an evangelist and product manager for AudioKinetic, who makes the audio software Wwise for game development. We're going to have him to talk about sort of his ideas around the future of game audio, what we can look forward to with game audio, and how audio design sort of works its way into the entertainment we enjoy. So let's try to welcome him in. Do you want to?
Cool,
Well, we
cool.
gave you a fun introduction,
Yeah.
I
but
liked it.
did you like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And thanks for bringing me right up to the moment in your live stream. It's great to be here. And yeah, it's a kind introduction, and I appreciated your perspective on the industry news. I think it's a shared pursuit to create environment where people are comfortable enough to express their creativity. I identified with a lot of the suggestions that you made there in that first part about creating an inclusive environment in this industry, and vibed hard with that. So appreciate you bringing that to the surface.
Sure. In my interactions with you, you kind of run the game audio. I'm blanking on the actual name of it, but the game audio meetup at GDC every morning.
Yeah, it started out as the Game Audio Podcast, and
That's right.
swiftly morphed into something that that was of and extended beyond that idea to bring together the community on the ground at GDC every year. And absolutely this idea of hearing all voices, the being inclusive, finding a way to amplify sounds that might be unheard or lesser heard. Just as sound people, I think we have a unique perspective to bring, and a unique way that we can amplify those alternate perspectives. So yeah, thanks. That was yeah, those are fun. There's some live streams up on the Lost Chocolate Lab Twitch channel. There's not much else there, but we did capture a few of those on the ground, where I was able to, leverage some co-hosts across the 5 days. And again, I think trying to create that environment where, as professionals working in audio, right, you recognize after not too many conversations that we're all sort of solving the same problems. But it is kind of back to the root of what I was identifying with, was, creating an environment in our industry where people feel comfortable to express their creativity, to share themselves with not only the art that is being created, but in the process. Because if art imitates life, or life is a stage, or can't dance about architecture, I don't know, something like that, then creating that environment where people can be their true selves feels ideal.
Well, let's get into the meat of sort of audio discussion. But first, I'm going to let you take some time to sort of introduce what you're doing with AudioKinetic and the work you're doing there.
Cool. So my name is Damian Kastbauer. I started in the industry right around 2006, maybe a little before, kind of doing some, projects remotely over the internet. Is anyone familiar with that these days?
I've heard of the internet.
This is kind of back when it wasn't so cool as it is now.
Yeah.
Is it cool? I'm not sure, but
it might be getting to that technology point where the kids these days are, they're just like, the internet, that's my dad's thing.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Anyway.
So kind of stepped into this industry at the intersection of sound design and, I guess, what they would call audio programming, or but I didn't really do either of those things. But there's this kind of magic middle place that we've come to identify as technical sound design, or audio systems design, that kind of tying together great content, either sound or music, voice, with the game and the engine and getting it to dynamically dance. So this was all I really wanted to do. Went freelance for 7 odd years, just kind of jumping between studios, helping to be a pressure release valve, allowing them to call for help when they were ready. And the kind of help that they needed a lot of times was this middle piece, right?
Sure.
Which we've come to identify as technical sound design. So I was lucky enough to partner with a company in the Bay Area called, funnily enough, Bay Area Sound. And
wow.
Yep, true story. And you know, sold the house, packed up the 5x10 trailer, and moved to California from Minnesota for a 6-month contract. What could go wrong?
Wow. Yeah, sure.
And thankfully, everything kind of worked out after that. Jumped off from my first project and started working with the folks at LucasArts in-house as a freelancer, helping with The Force Unleashed. I circled back a couple years later for The Force Unleashed 2 as well. And so just great opportunity there. Meanwhile, you know, the what would you call it? The plate tectonics of game audio tools and technology were shifting.
Yeah.
So I definitely started out during a time when proprietary tools were a little more prevalent. The first Force Unleashed created their own audio engine, created their own custom integrations with these crazy physics systems. So it was a great opportunity for me to play in those worlds and really imagine great workflows.
Did you have a design hand in that as well? So were you working with the programmers to decide how that system was going to be built and what the goals were for that system?
A ton of it, yes. Yeah. And there's a bunch of articles that I wrote that was kind of parallel paths here, right? Is that I'm working in-house and I'm really committed to this idea of sharing you know, this experience, right? So I wrote a bunch of articles about the systems for The Force Unleashed, and detailed the physics system that we implemented. And again, a proprietary tool and technology. Hard to get all the way there with an in-house developed audio solution at that time.
Sure, yeah.
Say.
Yeah.
We shipped a great sounding game, I'll say that. Did we ship a great workflow with the audio tool set? I would not say so. So again, this is what a game development studio needs to measure when they set out in that path. Well, are we trying to make great tools to make great games, or are we trying to make great games? So as that's kind of happening, I start working across different audio tool sets. At some point, I had counted about 17 across the 40 or 50 games that I've done during that time. Again, very just short, quick win. But from the emerging standard that has been established now in our modern age across the Unity audio, Unreal Audio, FMod, Wwise, there's probably a half a dozen other ones that we could really point to and say, yeah, this is a functional tool set for audio.
Right.
From that kind of emerged this passion for the system side, the tool side. And I was in a position to step into the role as a software product manager at AudioKinetic 2 years ago. I skipped a lot of stuff there, but that brings us up to the moment, and then we can go back in time from there.
Yeah.
So software product manager at AudioKinetic, helping to connect the dots between the development of Wwise, the people who are using it, really trying to drive development through feedback from our development partners, just folks out there doing cool stuff with sound and Wwise to help make the workflows better, to make interactive audio more accessible. And yeah, it's a it's been fun.
Yeah.
How closely do you get to work with like the developers that are using Wwise and like trying to sort of pioneer new ways to use 3D audio or interactive audio?
Yeah, well, AudioKinetic has a long history of development partners and working with developers to create features to serve both their internal needs for the development of a specific game or title, and with the result being that the entire Wwise community benefits from that collaboration. So a couple examples would be partnering with Sucker Punch to create HDR back during infamous Second Son, I think, if I'm dating it right, or developing MIDI as part of Rocksmith and their creation of that system, right? So again, a focused feature that you know, working closely with the development studio to create towards their goal of leveraging that feature, and ultimately the result being the entire Wwise community benefiting from that feature when it lands.
Eric, you were going to say something, did you?
Yeah, it was along the lines of what you just asked. I think a little bit, perhaps a little bit more pointed, which is, do you find yourself kind of leveraging the technical sound design experience from your past in your current role, or is this more of a traditional software development product manager? Yeah. Product management position where it might be something where you're kind of like setting schedules and identifying features that need to be implemented. Like, how much hands-on time do you get with that feedback loop portion of dealing with customers?
Yeah. So I definitely align more with the features development side of things from a user perspective, having been a Wwise user for a lot of years. My first Wwise project was maybe 2007 or 8. It was the Saboteur for Pandemic Studios. And so I've had a long history with AudioKinetic, including writing some extensive documentation for the Wwise Project Adventure. And so, you know, to answer your question, I'm definitely coming at it from the user perspective. I brought with me a whole like pile of things that I wanted to fix and want to fix and continue to push towards fixing, right?
Did they know the extent of what they were getting into when they hired you? You show up on day one bringing a big suitcase that you just dump on the table and like roll it out and say, here's what we're doing.
I do think they knew what they were getting into to a certain extent. And I think I was pleasantly surprised on arrival to see that many of the things that I've got beef with, you know, are things that other people recognize as needing improvement. And what's been the fun part for me is finding ways to tuck those little pieces in as we're kind of grooming this behemoth to be, you know, the best audio tool for interactive audio across the industry.